Hey, everybody. My name is Brian, and I am a modern day mystic, and I communicate with all sorts of different beings and angels that are beyond the veil and channel messages. And today's message is for the healers. This message is in regards to the healers that are already out there and their idea about how we are sexual beings, which is true. And we have an entire chakra, our sacral chakra is really dedicated to creativity and sexuality. That is part of our lesson to learn is how to manage our sexuality while we're here. And you can see that sexuality is really distorted, especially in the past maybe 10 or 15 years as to what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. The reality is that every time that there is an exchange of energy, an intimate exchange of energy, it is supposed to be done with love. The problem is we've moved into a society where we are liberated and we want to have freedom to do whatever we want with whoever we want. And we throw around intimacy without love. We have free will here and we can do that, but it does have implications for the soul. And it just means that you're going to accumulate more karma that you have to work through if you plan on healing later in life and if you plan on having a successful relationship later in life. So let me explain further. Every single time that you have an intimate experience with somebody, there is a massive exchange of energy. Sexual energy is some of the biggest and most effective healing energy that exists while we're here on this earthly plane of existence. Some healers think that it's okay to throw it around without any sort of consequences, that it's part of life's experience. And it's true. Again, you have free will. You're a sovereign being. You can do whatever you want to do with whoever you want to do it with. But what it does is it really tends to have an impact on your emotions and your ability to process what love really is. So if you get further into life and you want to have a relationship, but you've had 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, hundreds of relationships that were all intimate, pieces of you, parts of your soul will be lost with every single piece of those relationships. The person you are with at the end may not necessarily get your full heart and soul because it's been scattered across all these other people and experiences. Now, you don't have to agree with me. These are messages that I get that are channeled from a higher source. In these higher planes of existence, there is no real sexuality like we have here on Earth. So it can be part of our experience. And you can ascend by working through the karma if you've had a lot of partners. It's just going to make your ascension process a little bit more challenging. It's going to make you have difficulty finding true love because you've searched for it with all of these empty places. And while it might have been fun and it might have felt good, you've left a piece of yourself there. And you've exchanged that person's energy with your own. Their energy is attached to yours. There are ways to remove those energetic cords so that you can live a much more fulfilled and happy and loving life. But most people never get a chance to really understand that before they pass and then they reincarnate. If you want to ascend when it's time for you to pass, to go to the next plane of existence, a higher dimension of existence, then what you have to do is just work through that karma and forgive yourself and know that you didn't necessarily get the best advice when you were younger. And if you were listening to the media and you were listening to friends, looking at what's popular on the internet, watching pornography, those are all tools of the dark entities that rule over this dimension to try to trap you and keep you locked in your sacral chakra, which is where your creativity and your sexuality live. Again, you can work through it with specific modalities, and it's never too late. So if you agree with me, that's great. If you don't agree with me, that's also great. These are just channeled messages coming in from a higher source about human sexuality, what we're supposed to do when we get here, and how we're supposed to learn from our experiences. I hope that this message resonates. By the way, I have a school community that I just opened up called Modern Day Mystics. If you'd like to come and have spiritual conversations in a private space that is surrounded by mystics, mediums, and healers of all different types and shapes and sizes, it's a great place for you. The school community is called Modern Day Mystics. There's links in my bio for it, and you can search it by going to school.com. Thanks so much, and have a great day.